What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to some Dungeon Defenders 2 and another quick look at the EV2. Now, I've been pretty amazed with the amount of damage the EV can put out. I'm going to show you how to do that today, but first things first, let's take a quick look at the meat of it. Now, everything we're going to do here is going to involve our Proton Cannon or Proton Charge. You see, just by assuming the position with that and just spraying into it without using any pet abilities or anything, we ride pretty nicely at that 280,000-290,000 DPS range. Pretty awesome in itself. Let's blow off some of this heat. Now, we all know the pet for DPS is Dragolich, so let's go ahead and throw him into the mix here. We'll go ahead and rip off our 280,000, then pop Dragolich, and let's see what we get to. See, we're over 700k there with Dragolich burning. Very, very nice indeed. 720-some thousand, whatever it was. Extremely awesome. Now, let's go ahead and take this to the next level and bust out our friendly monk, who just happens to have Empowering Calm equipped for a 25% increase in hero damage. So let's slap that bad boy down there, switch back over to our EV, and see what he can do now. You see, now sitting in a Serenity Aura there, we're up into the 380,000, 340,000 range. Looks like we're going to stick at 340,000 as far as the sustained DPS that we can hold off. Not too shabby there. Now, let's go ahead and throw Drago into the mix and see what we can get to now. With Dragolich popped, we're in the 868, 861, 859, so we're in the 860,000 DPS range. Pretty damn impressive. Now let's go ahead and take this one more step further and use some of those lovely little carnival buffs that our inventories are plagued with. I'm going to pop the Strongman and the Spellcasting to get my hero power and my ability power up a little bit. And then let's go ahead and check it out now. So just with the Proton Cannon itself, 425,000, 375,000. Looks like we're going to stay in the 374,000, 375,000 range. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. Now let's do the same thing and pop Dragolich into the mix. And you see, now we're at the 950,000 range. Whoa! Almost a million. Now we can get spikes of over a million. So let me show you how we're going to do that. If we go ahead and drop our lovely little gravity bots, I just happen to have the big boy weapon passive, and let's see if we can get a spike over a million. That would be awesome. Alright, so let me blow off some of this heat. And we'll assume the position. And there was 1,000,002, and then back down to 950,000. So we're able to get over a million DPS. Obviously just one little spike of burst DPS with our trusted grab bots in the mix. But overall, just with Dragolich up and all these buffs, I'm at 950,000. Pretty damn awesome. Now let's go ahead and take a look at how we get that done. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the Proton Charge, EV2 enters Siege Mode, and her arm cannon morphs into the Proton Charge, firing a large beam that deals damage based on ability power and hero power. So all of our gear, we're going to want to focus on ability power and hero damage. Now, the Proton Cannon, the passives for it, there are no passives that make it hit harder or anything along those lines, so what we've got is heat generation. Basically, we want to lower our heat generation and make the proton cannon last longer. And with a good weapon for burning heat, my particular weapon I have is kind of crappy for burning down the heat, you can keep that up almost constantly. So we see there's the only two passives you want to look for: Proton Charge Width and Proton Cannon Heat Generation. Both of those are going to be the passives that you want to use. And I think I mentioned it, but the Proton Cannon doesn't crit, or it appears that it doesn't crit. So worrying about crit damage is not an issue. Just go all hero damage and ability power. Of course, with Dragolich in the mix, you kind of close the deal and make things nice and wonderful. Now, one more important thing to discuss is the skill spheres. Now, the skill spheres are going to be all about either increasing the proton cannon's damage or reducing the amount of heat it creates. So starting off, we're going to go with the Proton Charge Deflect. The Proton Cannon deals an extra 350% of your ability power status damage, and its max range is increased by 30%. Just the range alone is pretty huge. That's a necessary skill sphere. Then we got the Proton Flame Charge. EV2's Proton Cannon is upgraded with a flaming core, dealing an extra 50% fire damage to enemies it hits. We got the Heat Dispenser module. Upgrades the gun with a new Heat Dispenser module that drains 50% more heat with each primary attack. Very helpful, especially if you're like me and have a crappy weapon for heat dispensing. And then the Heat Capacitor, which this one is a must-have as well, and in fact it is probably the first one I would get if you're running low on the cash. The reason being, it's going to basically double your max heat, and that's going to straight up let you keep your proton cannon up twice as long. So that's going to do it for now. Thank you for watching. Click that like button, please subscribe to the channel, and we'll be back soon with some more DD2. See ya!